Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you have had a fantastic weekend so far. I hope that you're staying healthy, and if you're feeling under the weather, I hope you're on the mend. Students, in this class, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 3, focusing on sweets and making food. And for those of you who watched the previous class, which ended 30 minutes ago, that was about Part 2 speaking, talk about your favorite dessert. So it's no surprise that Part 3 is talking a little bit more about sweets or sugary foods and making food. Speaking in the IELTS, it's 3 parts. Part 2, Part 3 are connected. When you finish Part 2, the examiner will say, that is the end of Part 2. We will now continue with Part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to the topic of Part 2. And then they begin. To practice your speaking and to get lots of videos and help with the speaking and with all parts of the IELTS exam, you can go to our websites, aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. aehelp.com is for academic, gieltshelp.com is for general, and it's a great time to join our premium package because we have our Cyber Monday sale starting today. The code is CBMN, so Cyber Monday, CBMN. On the website, you get a 30% discount and you get a 15-minute speaking interview included with the package. Otherwise, speaking is extra. It makes sense because different people have different budgets, and our writing and speaking services are pay per cost. That makes a lot of sense. The website is a one-time payment. So rather than charging you each month or rather than including a speaking with a high cost, we keep the premium course low cost and you can buy extra speaking and writing as you need. Okay? So the websites, we are going to use them today for speaking with you. You will be able to volunteer. You can do that through the free version or the paid version. This is aehelp.com. This is the big red button that's just above my head there. You can click that to join the premium package, and you can apply that code that I just showed you. So use coupon code CBMN. And we will match your email with your code, and we will send you an email to schedule your 15-minute speaking interview. We will be sending those to the people who bought the Black Friday discount today. So look out for that email. I think there were quite a good number of people who bought the Black Friday discount. So same with the Cyber Monday. So the earlier you're able to purchase, the better, the earlier you can get your speaking interview. And it's only for a few days. Keep that in mind. So these discounts, we don't have them hanging around like some of the other ones. They're only for a few days. General IELTS, it's this website, gieltshelp.com. You click the big red button there and you're off to the races. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. I'm a certified British Council agent. So you're in good hands. Okay. All right. Good to see many students. Hi, Eldho, Romelia. Nice to see many of our members back in this class as well. Consistency is key to success. Chayani, Fuang, Dewey. Nice to see you all here, and good to see many students. Sarala, Ridham in the class. Akira, nice to have you here. All right, everyone. We're going to spend most of the class practicing our speaking. If you have questions, you can send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. That's my name, Adrian, or admin. Either email will work. Okay. You can also contact us through the website, of course. And tomorrow we will have a Discord full speaking class. I'll add the link. That's a free class. Check it out. It's a great community of IELTS students. Okay. Yesin, send me an email. I see that you say I entered the course yesterday and I'm having troubles. It could be a security feature that you triggered with a VPN or proxy network. So just send me an email. We can help you out. Okay. So I see it. No need to copy. Okay. All right. Romelia, I'm not sure when the next Light Hall class is, but I will definitely let you know when we're planning that. Okay. We've got a couple of interesting projects, but I don't want to spoil that just yet. Okay, so after Sunday, you've got a little bit of a break, a couple of days until Thursday, December 1st, when I continue with speaking part 1. So note the calendar and the times. We're in daylight savings right now. So classes are an hour later than they were in October and the previous months. Check out our latest video release. It's here. I put the link in the chat for everybody. So check that out. It's a great video to teach you how to perform at the Band 9 level. All right, so IELTS speaking part 3. Talk about sweets and cakes. Who was it? Bakrat said that he does a good job in part 1. He does a good job in part 2, but he finds it challenging to answer fluently and clearly in part 3. That's common, okay? Bakrat's not the only one. A lot of students find part 3 the most challenging because there's specific questions, so they take a bit more than part 1 and 2. IELTS is a progressive exam, so in every section, the listening, the reading, writing, speaking, it becomes more and more difficult in the later parts of each section. So part 3 is arguably the most challenging for speaking. But that doesn't mean it's impossible, and it doesn't mean that you don't have some good strategies, okay? So as you begin IELTS speaking part 3, you need to remember a couple of important pieces of information. Does anybody recall that watched the last class? Does anybody remember what tip I gave to Bakrat for helping to improve part 3 answers? Okay. So what did I say to him? I said a very important piece of advice, and I believe there are quite a few students who were in that class that are in this class now. So what did I say? I said you should do this and that will help you, and you will likely be more fluent and answer questions faster. Lesmi says give an answer, explanation, and example. That wasn't quite it. Alexander says, be slow. I did give the advice, Alexander. You're right. I said to Bakrat that it's better to speak slower and think more than to speak quickly and make lots of mistakes. So slow and methodical is better than fast and confusing. That's for sure. But that wasn't the tip I was thinking about in this case. So it was something else. What was that tip that will help you in part 3? Alfred says, be confident. Confidence is very important for the whole speaking section, but that wasn't the actual tip. Messy Talk says, hi, Adrian. Hi, Messy. Lazmi says, be formal. No, it's not. I mean, you should speak professionally, but that wasn't it. Flying Dragon says, use logic. Logic is definitely part of it, and it's very important. For part 3, you should keep in mind the questions, okay? Let me do it this way. Let me do it above, okay? Chen says, think in a broad context. Not necessarily a broad context, Chen, but think in a global context is probably a bit better, okay? But you're on the right track, okay? So IELTS questions are designed for the global community. This means, okay, that people from every country from ages 16 to 60, men and women, should be able to answer the questions Okay, so think about global issues and commonalities. Commonalities means it's the same for everybody. For instance, health. Everyone wants to be healthy. We all consult our doctors. We believe in healthy exercise and diet. Okay, would you all agree? Okay, Rekha, you can contact me on the website, or you can send me an email that I showed at the beginning of the class to book speaking sessions. Okay. All right, so does everybody agree with me that health is common to all people? So whether you're in Germany or Taiwan or in Mexico, we all are concerned with health, being healthy. None of us enjoy being sick or ill, right? And we all talk to our doctor if we feel terrible. Most of us think that, yeah, exercise and diet are important, right? Would you agree? Mobadu says, absolutely. Chen says, definitely. Okay, another one would be like environment, right? Okay, so I would say that everyone agrees that nature is important. Pollution is bad. We have big challenges like global warming. Okay, everybody agrees with that. So nature is important, pollution is bad. We have big challenges like global warming. Humans are having a bad effect on nature through development. I think if we asked most people, just about everybody would say, yeah, that's fair. Okay, whether you're from China or from Russia or from Argentina, we would probably say, yep, all right. So education, we would all agree is important, is necessary for success, is scientific, is philosophical. Okay. Reading and writing are important. Okay, so these are the global kind of commonalities, facts, issues that we all understand, right? So health, environment, education, technology would be another one. Government systems. Okay, government is one. Authority. Laws and regulations. Okay. Social life, right? So being connected with other people, social life. All right. So we would have all of these kind of common features, right? We all need friends, we all need family, and so forth. Okay. So a really good tip for you before your IELTS exam is sit down at home, make a list of these global topics. Okay, so make a list of global common topics, and then add the common or commonalities within each topic. So just like I did now with pollution and importance of nature, right? And then think about those, read about those, okay? In English, of course, right? Okay, and that will really help you to answer the questions in part 3, because those questions in part 3 can be related to these pieces of information, okay? All right. So, yeah, so I can't read the Cyrillic, but they're saying rush hour, traffic jam. That would be for transportation. Transportation is another subtopic, right? Or another topic. All right, so lots of commonalities there. And the list goes on, so this is just a short list, but ideally you want to make a, a fairly complete list, and then you can think about it. Food is one, right? And food is one that we're looking at today with favorite dessert and talking about sweets and cakes, right? Okay. So make a list and then a sub list. Everybody understand this kind of, well, I would say homework, but just an assignment exercise that I'm giving you here with this. Everybody's good? Yeah? So when you're practicing, you're speaking, you're writing. By the way, task 2, it's the same idea in your writing. They're global issues. You look at a specific question, but they're global issues, okay? World Cup says abroad study. That would be for education. I would put that under education. World Cup, Qatar. Okay, so that will help you a lot. All right. Now, another point. So this point 1. Okay, as you start part 3. Keep in mind our common global issues, okay? There's another point, and some of you have heard me say this before. There's another point to keep in mind, and if you keep these two in mind, and you put them together, you're going to have a lot more confidence and fluency for part 3. You won't need to think quite as much, okay? All right. What is that? What is the second point that you need to keep in mind for IELTS Part 3, which will help to maximize your score? What do you think that is? Okay, it's a good one, and I've given you this tip before. Very good, Fuang. Clever. Fuang, you are really paying attention to lessons. Not only do you have the right answer, but you answer quickly. Point 2 is keep in mind your part 2 planning and answer. Okay, so remember, part 3 is connected to part 2. So as long as you did a good job answering part 2, you have a lot of good ideas already saved up for part 3. And remember the planning? I said to think of at least 2 or 3 possible answers, and we thought about at least, 7 or 8 for this one, which is your favorite dessert. So we thought about chocolate cake, we thought about chocolate chip cookies, we had the word brownies pop up. I went with a fondue, right? Chocolate, I love chocolate. Chocolate fondue. We also had cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake. There's a video that I did with that answer. So we had chocolate or strawberry cheesecake. Yes, that's right, World Cup. We had cupcake. That was the response by Fuang, in fact, right? So Chayani says, take the examples or take your answers from the previous part. Absolutely, okay? So if you connect those with part 3, you're on the right track. Let me show you. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. All right, so here it is. The examiner says, okay, that's the end of part 2. Let's continue with part 3. Let's talk about sweets and cakes. In general, have people's consumption of sweets and cakes increased or decreased over the last few decades? Okay. Now, I use the question. So I believe that the amount of confectionaries or sweets, stay with the same, that people are eating these days has increased compared to 30 or 40 years ago, simply because there are so many delicious sugary foods available in many shops and supermarkets. When I walk into a grocery store, I can buy chocolates, cakes, and cookies as where there was much less during the 70s and earlier years. Okay, so just the amount of food, right, in the world today, when we have just much more. If you look back at previous generations, they didn't have as much sugary sweets in shops. They had maybe a few sections, but not like now. Now you walk into a grocery store and you have like a whole aisle or 2 aisles that are just candies and baked goods like cakes, right? So people tend to eat more. And I wouldn't go with an it depends, right? I would just go with more. If I think about it, generally, I'm not sure how it is in other people's countries, but in Canada, for sure, there's just a lot more sugar on the shelves in stores. Do you find the same? Okay. So the global issue here, Chayani, is the availability of food, right? So we just have a much greater availability of food and sugary food than we did 30 or 40 years ago. Would most of you agree with that? So do most of you find that when you go into shops, you just see a lot more food that contains sugar? I think it does. They call sugar the modern day poison. So I don't know if that's just here in Canada or in other countries as well, but definitely in many countries that I've visited, there's just a lot of sugar on the shelves. Okay. All right. Harani Cambly, one of our partners, their app is great. It does cost money. You pay by the minute. Okay. All right. So it looks like I've got some students answering. I know Phuong is in Vietnam and says, yes, sir. So I guess in Vietnam, that's true. Rakwe is in India, and that's true. And Nipa says, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot more diabetics in the world. Yeah, and that might become useful for a later answer, Nipa. So yeah, Ate agrees as well. I would agree. There's just a lot of sugar. Even, I'm sure some of our viewers are in their 20s, some 30s, some 40s. But I think for most of us, when we think back to our childhood, we're like, yeah, I used to eat like a chocolate bar a week. Now I end up eating chocolate every one or 2 days, right? Okay. So it's a common trend, all right? So that's how you can see the previous plan, like chocolates, cakes, and cookies. That was part of my planning in part 2. And the global issue is there's just a lot more sugary foods available in supermarkets, okay? So everybody sees that. So this is the global situation. And when you mention a global situation, it's better for your comprehension for the examiner because they agree. So if it's agreeable in their head, they're kind of like, yeah, that's right. You see a lot of shops selling sugar. Okay. And then when you name it from your planning in part 2, then you're using that information. Okay. So this is how you combine your part 2 planning with the kind of global situation to create a clear answer. Okay. So Flying Dragon says, yeah, in the Ukraine, it's the same as well. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. So global commonalities, global issues combined with part 2 planning gives you a lot of ideas for part 3, and it makes a strong connection. So you end up with a good band score. All right. All right. Okay, so aside from that, definitely think about, somebody said, and you should always think about answer, explanation, example. Answer plus giving an explanation. So answer is yes, there are a lot more sweets. Explanation, they're just much more available and they're cheaper in many ways. So people eat a lot more sweets. And then example, I remember when I was a child, I had chocolate once every week or a couple of weeks. Now I have chocolate every few days. Okay. All right. So answer, explanation, example combined with global common trends or issues combined with your part 2 planning. That's how you can think quickly and create good high level answers. Okay. All right, so let's practice, all right? Again, I always love to spend most of the time during the final classes of the week on practicing, and I will show you how to do that. And I'm going to ask you these part 3 questions. Be confident. Everybody is in the same boat. We're all practicing. We are all improving our English, including myself. And volunteer. I'll show you how, okay? First, you need to go to the website that we use. It's our support website. This is the website that's it's the textbook, basically, for these live classes. So register a free or a paid account. Again, this week, you're able to use the Cyber Monday and Black Friday discounts. Black Friday runs out today, I believe. Then you can use the Cyber Monday from today as well. So go to aehelp.com, log into your My Student account. Okay, if you already have an account, log into your My Student account. Click on Student Partner Speaking, then make sure your microphone and speaker are working. Test it, try it with somebody else, and then send me a message. Keep the window open. Send me a message to Master. You will see my handle is Master, all big letters, and write, I want to volunteer. Okay, and I will ping you. I will see you sending the message, and I will ping you. Let me show you. So this is the general IELTS. We want the academic one for this practice, although the general has the same speaking interface, so you can log in at general IELTS as well. And then you can buy the premium version of the course by clicking the big red button that's above my head, or you can join for free and check it out by clicking the green button, okay? And then you go to your My Student account. In your My Student account, you will see computer-based practice exams, an interactive course, PDFs that you can print to do the exam. You'll have all of the audio CDs for the listening sections and the reading sections for practice. And then you will also see the writing services, so task 1, task 2, and you'll see the speaking services. You want to go to the speaking services and click on this one here, the Student Partner Speaking. Okay. Hi, Maria. What's your question? Let me know. Accept the terms. It means you're going to speak politely, professionally. Don't share information with people like your phone number, please, or your bank account number. Right? Keep those private. You're responsible for the information that you have. Maria, if you have your question, let me know. I'm always looking at the chat as well. So we have lots of people in here already. Alfred, Chayani, Romelia, Kenjayeva, they're already volunteering, which is fantastic. Again, students, you will find me as Master, like that, all capital. That will be my handle. You click on the blue envelope by my handle, and then you send me a message. I want to volunteer, and then we shall begin, okay? And we've got a few good volunteers in here, so we'll get cracking. Headphone and a good internet connection, highly recommended. All right, here we go. Let's give Chayani a chance. I know, Chayani, you weren't ready before. Are you ready now? There we go. Yeah. Yeah has an H on the end, Chayani. Okay. Hi, Chayani.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Not bad, but not good.
Okay, so you're so-so. All right. I'm doing Okay. That's kind of the same as what I said. When we say I'm doing okay, it basically means you're not great, not bad, but you're getting by. Okay, Chayani, you were in the last class, so you know what it was about, talking about your favorite dessert. What was your plan? What did you plan to talk about? What would be your favorite dessert?
I aiming to talk ice cream, cocoa mint ice cream.
Cocoa mint ice cream. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to ask you some part 3 questions. Just give me some nice full sentence answers. Think about answer, explanation, example, keeping it short. Okay, you ready?
Yes, even though it looks daunting.
That's okay. Yeah, don't be scared. Here we go. So let's talk about sweets and cakes. In general, have people's consumption of sweets and cakes increased or decreased over the last few decades?
I am sure that the consumption of sweet this day has gone up sharply rather than 3 or 4 decades ago. And there are provided lots of delicious sugary foods that available in the grocery store or in the online shop. I have ever passed through the bakery, passes through the ice cream shops, and it is sells cocoa mint ice cream, and there's much variant of ice cream, and rather than 10 decades ago.
Too many sweets can cause health issues for people. Do you agree with this statement? Why or why not?
Sure, I'm agree with this notion. Right now, some individuals have written about the health issue because of the high density of sugar. One of my friends called Margot, he threatened because of use the high density of sugar. Right now, she reduce consuming sugary food or sugary drink.
Certain types of sweets and cakes can be very expensive. What do you think contributes to the high price of some confectionaries?
I lost my idea, so sorry.
I'll say it again. Don't worry. So in this case, and this is for everybody, you just want to say, could you please repeat that question? I wasn't focusing. Okay. Or can you please repeat that question? I'm a bit nervous. It's okay to say that. Certain types of sweets and cakes can be very expensive. What do you think contributes to the high price of confectionaries?
I think this is based of the lack of the men workers who want to harvest the sugar in the sugar field. So there is unreasonable price of the cakes and sugary.
Chayani, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. You stopped so suddenly, I thought you left or the connection was broken, but no, okay. All right. Chayani, good. All right. Not bad, not bad. So I would say that you are at about a band 5.5 level. Okay, so 5 to 5.5. You've got some good ideas. You've got the strategy of answer, explain, example. You need to focus a little bit more on clear, coherent sentence structure and sentences. Okay. Some of your pronunciation at some points makes it a little bit difficult for me to figure out exactly what you're saying. So you have to pay attention to always practicing pronunciation and phonetics. You don't have to have perfect pronunciation. It just has to be clear enough for me to understand it. Okay. All right. Let's jump back to your first answer. You said, I'm sure that the consumption of sweets has gone up sharply rather than 3 or 4. It's not rather than. Rather than is a bit awkward here. Compared with, okay, is a bit clearer. But a nice use of present perfect here, has gone up sharply. I thought that was nice language right there. And then you said there are lots of sugary foods available in stores. And then you said I passes through the ice cream shop. So here I would say whenever I pass through an ice cream shop, there are lots of, so this is how, I know that you were connecting your part 2 thought of the cocoa mint ice cream. So I would have connected it like this to be a little bit clearer. So pass through an ice cream shop, there are dozens, okay, of flavors compared with just a few flavors decades ago. And then you can say decades ago. When I was a child, my favorite dessert, the cocoa mint ice cream, did not exist. Okay, does that make sense, Chayani?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So that's how I would answer it here. I'm going to say it, just copy it and try to copy it from listening only, because it's very close to your answer with just some upgrades to make it a band 9 instead of a band 5. So here we go. Once I finish, listen carefully and then try to repeat it. I'm sure that the consumption of sweets has gone up sharply compared with 3 or 4 decades ago. There are lots of sugary foods available in stores. And whenever I pass through an ice cream shop, there are dozens of flavors, with just a few flavors a few decades ago. When I was a child, my favorite dessert, the cocoa mint ice cream, didn't exist.
I am sure that the consumption of sweet has gone up sharply compared with 3 or 4 decades. There are lots of sugary foods available in stores, and whenever I pass through an ice cream shop, there are a dozen of flavors compared with just a few flavors a few decades ago. When I was a child, my favorite dessert, the cocoa mint ice cream, did not exist.
Okay, so that would be a compilation of your part 2 global commonalities, right? I think we would all agree that there are just a lot more flavors of ice cream today than even 20 or 30 years ago. Even at the turn of the millennium, there weren't. Now it's just incredible how many flavors of ice creams we have in shops and stores. So so that would be your high band answer. So all you want to do, Chayani, when you're practicing like this is record yourself, write down what you say, think about how you can improve it, get some feedback, and then just keep going. You're improving, you're getting better and better. You just need to keep staying in the right direction, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, Chayani, thanks for volunteering. Bye
Sir,
for now.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was in the first exam of IELTS, the examiner interrupted me because of the time limitation. It is affect to my band score?
Yes, yes, it does. So you have to recognize the speed of your fluency, and you have to adjust your answers to match the speed. So it's a very good question, Chayani, and it's a very important tip for everybody. If you tend to speak slower, then keep your answers shorter. If you're able to speak faster, then give more details. So what I mean is that if you feel like, I can't say that fast enough without the examiner interrupting me, then make it shorter. So say, yes, there are a lot more sweets these days. People are eating a lot more because they're more available. Ice cream shops these days have a lot of flavors, and I couldn't buy cocoa mint when I was a child. So you make it shorter, okay? Just make the answer explanation example shorter, and you practice those shorter form answers, okay? Being interrupted is not a good idea, okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome, Chayani. Thank you for that good question.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. All right. So that was Chayani. That was a very good question by Chayani. And yes, you should adjust the length of your answers depending on the speed of your English. Don't try to give a really long answer if you're speaking quite slowly. Okay. And then you have to focus on shorter, more concise answers. Okay. All right. Look at all those thumbs up you're getting, Chayani, in the chat. All right. Okay, let's see who else. I think Zoraida was volunteering in the last class too, so we've got lots of time. Hang in there, everybody. We've got lots of times for a lot of time for volunteers this class. So, Zoraida, are you ready for some of these questions? We're gonna get to many of them, so hang in there. All right, Zoraida, if you are ready, give me a sign. I'd love to see some new volunteers as well. So, Sunny, it's good to see you there. Prerna seems like a new person, so we'll give you a chance in just a moment. Okay, Zoraida. Hi, Zoraida.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
That's good. That's good. That's a bit better than okay. It goes okay, fine, great, awesome. Something like that. All right. Zoraida, let me ask you some of
Yes,
these
sir.
questions and then give me some nice answers and explanations. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. So, too many sweets can cause health issues for people. Do you agree with this statement?
I strongly agree with this statement that sweets can cause health issues, especially at present. So many people are suffering from diabetes, and this is because sweets contains a lot of sugar, and sugar is the main cause of diabetes. And once the person have diabetes, it complicates and it creates more diseases like problems in the heart, in kidney, in as oral health, even eyes. So I could say that eating much sweets affects our health.
Certain types of sweets and cakes can be very expensive. What do you think contributes to the high price of some of these confectionaries?
In my opinion, the innovations of products in sweet products is the one that causes the high price of sweets. This time, as we know, prices of commodities are going high, and the innovations of these products they create more sweets with many ingredients, and these ingredients are expensive. Therefore, it affects the price of the final product.
Okay. All right. Zoraida, that was pretty good. So your band score, and for all the volunteers, I'm always giving you a band score to start, and then I explain why that is and how to improve it. Okay. So your band score would be anywhere from a 6.5 to 7. I would probably give you a 7. Some examiners are a little bit harder than me. They might give you a 6.5. But I would definitely, I think I'd be leaning towards the 7. You're quite fluent. You've got some good vocabulary. You did a great job of using the question and in both cases. So you said, I strongly agree with the statement that sweets can cause health issues. It's a very good strategy to use the question in your answer and paraphrase it. And you're paraphrasing it grammatically in some ways, so it's good. Okay, and then you said, especially, I don't know why I wrote as especially, you meant especially. You said, especially at present, so many people suffer from diabetes. Great, you're giving me an example of a health issue. And you said, and this is because sugar is the main cause of diabetes, which leads to additional health problems. At that point, I think you got a little bit too detailed, and this is the point where the examiner might interrupt you, especially if they're less experienced and they're just really kind of go, go, go. Then, you know, by the time you're getting to problems in the mouth, they might just jump to the next question, because it kind of felt like you were slowing down a bit, you were digressing. Digress means to go into too much detail, so you were digressing too far into the answer. So instead of doing that, I would have kept those details a little bit simpler. So I would have said, and this is because sugar is the main cause of diabetes, and this leads to other issues like obesity. And then give an example, like give a statistical example. What country are you in right now, Zoraida?
I am here in Kazakhstan, sir.
In
But I am
Kazakhstan.
Filipino.
But you're Filipino. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So either one. So are there more obese people in the Philippines these days than, say, 20, 30, 50 years ago?
Yes, sir. So much.
Right? It's
So many,
unfortunate.
sorry. So
Yeah.
many.
So unfortunately, it's a serious issue in many countries. Yeah. So like obesity, and then you can say in the Philippines, the number of obese people have gone up by 100% over the last generation. Right? And that example will kind of finish that answer. Okay? So,
Oh, okay, sir.
so here we go. I strongly agree with the statement that sweets can cause health issues, especially at present. So many people suffer from diabetes, and this is because of sugar. This leads to other issues like obesity. In the Philippines, the number of obese people have gone up by 100% in the last generation. Band 9. Okay? Try to repeat that.
Wait, sir, because I'm done with the. I'm late.
I know, but
I have
Zoraida,
stopped.
Zoraida, it's because your English is quite good. So you're definitely between the fluent and good English level. So when you're doing repetition, you should try to do it from listening, not from reading. Okay, it's much more effective. So I will say it one more time, and careful, because I'm not saying exactly what I wrote. I'm making it even more concise. So I strongly agree with the statement that sweets can cause health issues, especially at present. So many people suffer from diabetes because of sugar, and this leads to other issues like obesity. In the Philippines, the number of obese people has gone up by about 100% in the last generation.
Okay. I strongly believe that the consumption of sugar. Oh, sorry, sir. I'm just making my own statement because I couldn't see in the
Go
screen.
for
I
it.
am
It
late.
doesn't have to be the same.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I strongly believe that the consumption of sweets leads to health issues. I strongly believe that the consumption of sweets lead to health issues because sugar contains a lot. I sorry, sir.
No, it's okay. Don't try to rush it, because sugar leads to diabetes.
I strongly agree that consumption of sweets lead to health issues because sweets contains a lot of sugar, which causes diabetes. And this is because
Simplify. Simplify. Repeat me. And this leads to problems like obesity.
I strongly agree that sweets can lead to health issues, and this is because sweets contain sugar, and sugar is the main cause of diabetes. And once the person has diabetes, it can create more health health problems like obesity. In the Philippines, there are a lot of people who are suffering from obesity problem because
That's it.
Filipinos love sweets so much.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that works, right? Good. By the way, everybody who just listened to that was wonderful. What you just did there, Zoraida. That kind of repetition where you don't give up, you go back to the beginning, you start again. Every time you make a mistake, you go back to the beginning, you start again. Even though it's hard work and it's frustrating at times, it's wonderful for improving your English, your fluency, your accuracy. So never be shy to do what Zoraida just did. That was very good practice there.
Thank you so much, sir, for the challenge. I was just stuck because I was feeling nervous, and then I was trying to compose again and think think about the subject.
That's the trick. That's it. That's the golden key to good language skills. So that's how you do it, Zoraida. Thank you for that example. I appreciate it. And thank you for volunteering, Zoraida. I hope you have a
Yes, sir.
lovely.
More volunteers next time. Thank you so much,
All right,
sir.
keep it up. Keep it up. That was good practice. Bye, Zoraida.
Bye bye, sir.
All right, so yeah, thumbs up. Exactly, Chen. Great spirit, right? It's called the unbreakable spirit, right? Where she didn't quit, she didn't stop, she didn't say, I give up. She just kept going and going and going until voila, success, right? So that's how you do it. You don't give up, okay? So that was fantastic. All right, let's give, we've got lots of time, students, for volunteers, so hang in there again, all right? We're going to go with, let's try Prerna. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Prerna, are you ready? If you're there, I think it's a new person, and we always want to give new people a chance, right? So encourage consistent students and new students alike to improve your English. Krishna, I'm glad you're enjoying the class. There were a couple other people saying that as well, and it's lovely. By the way, I loved Alexander's comment as well. Alexander says, I take a Filipino cupcake every week. It's very sweet. Yes, I have heard that the Filipino dessert kitchen is quite sweet indeed. Okay, Prerna, let's reach out to you. Prerna, how are you?
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Prerna, this is our first time interacting. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, it's great to meet you. Can you tell me where you're calling from?
I'm calling from India, the northern part of India,
Northern part of India. Which state?
Haryana.
Haryana. Okay. I don't think we've had too many volunteers from there, which is fantastic. And why are you taking the IELTS exam?
Because it is the requirement for masters.
Yes, indeed. For many, many, many schools around the world, it's the requirement. Okay, well, let me help you with your objective. I will ask you some questions. Just give me some nice full sentence answers to the best of your ability. Think about answer, explanation, example. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
here we go.
sir.
All right. Certain types of sweets and cakes can be very expensive. What do you think contributes to the high price of some confectionaries?
I think the sole purpose of high prices of some cakes and sweets in confectionaries is the high demand of the sweets, as people are very fond of sweets and cakes nowadays. So there is a high demand, and to meet that demand, the prices are rising, and it is people are very fond of those sweets, and it's all makes them feel that it's all worth it to spend such high amount of money to buy those sweets. Just like on my last birthday, I bought a very expensive cake because of the delicious taste, and that's why I think
Let's
that
talk about making food. How have food preparation practices improved over the decades?
I think that practice of foods making has improved a lot, and people used to make this. Earlier, people used to make specific type of foods and enjoy that only. But with the globalization, people are now uh, finding foreign recipes a lot. Uh, and they tend to enjoy those recipes. That's why I think they try to make those recipes in their kitchens, and the practice of food preparation has changed a lot.
Okay, let's stop there because you have some really good English there. And if we take that English and combine it with a little bit better direction, you're going to do just fantastic. Okay, so first of all, Accuracy, grammatical accuracy is a 7. Your fluency, I would say, is a band 8. And I know that you were a little bit nervous at this point. It was your first time volunteering. That kind of, I could hear in your voice that was affecting your fluency a bit, but you improve your confidence and you will do great as well. So first of all, your logic is very good. So your answers are very coherent. And that's the most important part of your speaking interview is good, coherent answers. So I asked you this question of certain types of sweets and cakes can be very expensive. And I asked the 2 volunteers before you. And you said, I think the sole purpose of the high prices of some confectionaries are the high demand of sweets. It was a good answer, a little bit wordy, right? If you hear that again, you realize like, okay, I'm using a lot of words to say that the high demand of sweets increases the price, right? It's a much simpler way to say it. So you want to practice being concise. I think your overall band level is about a 7 to 7.5 even. And I do think that you could probably get a band 8 on your next IELTS exam in the next few weeks or next month, as long as you practice speaking a bit more concisely with a bit more confidence and a little bit more coherent information. And I'll show you how you can do that, okay? So when I ask you certain types of sweets and cakes can be very expensive, what kind of cakes and sweets did you think about? So in your head, what did you think about? Oh, that's a sweet that's really expensive to buy. What came into your mind?
Many expensive pastries nowadays in the market.
Can you give me some specific pastries that are very expensive? You said one example at the end, and I thought your example was quite clever. Remember what your example was?
Cake,
What kind of cake?
a cheesecake.
No, I don't know if you said cheesecake or not, but it was for a special purpose. Remember what the purpose of the cake
A
was?
birthday cake.
It was a birthday cake. Very good. Okay.
Yes.
So one really, really important tip for everybody when you're doing the IELTS exam, and this isn't just for the speaking, it's also for the writing, is think visually. Okay. So use your visual thinking and make that visual thinking very specific. Okay. So when you think about a birthday cake, an expensive birthday cake, what does that look like? What does your expensive birthday cake look like? Is it just a simple cheesecake?
No,
Maybe it's
I don't know what to call that. A double tier cake.
Okay, so it could be any kind of birthday cake, right? But make it an amazing birthday cake. So maybe it has 3 layers, right?
Yeah,
it's got
3 layers.
chocolate on the outside with bits of strawberry on it. Maybe a marzipan character of your favorite cartoon character or something, right? So when you imagine this elaborate birthday cake, or one that comes to my mind is this elaborate wedding cake, right? Then why is that expensive?
Because it is for a special purpose.
And what else? Are you able to make a very beautiful special wedding cake?
No.
Me neither. I'll be honest with you. Maybe even a simple one I'd have trouble with, right? So why else is it expensive?
Because it is exclusively made.
Exactly. It's unique. It's made exclusively. You need a trained chef or a pastry chef to make it, right? Also the ingredients, if they're high quality ingredients, organic strawberries, it's going to be very expensive. Like birthday cakes and wedding cakes, people can spend how much money? So how much can a really nice birthday cake or a wedding cake cost?
In India, maybe above 10,000 rupees.
Right. So expensive, right? In Canada, a birthday cake can easily cost in the $300, $400, $500 range. Okay, easily. So very expensive. So then you realize why these confectionaries or these pastries can be so expensive, right? There's another one, by the way, that comes to mind for me. Somebody, I can't remember who said it was their favorite dessert, but somebody said macaron. Macarons are really expensive. Do you know what the macaron is?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're probably pretty expensive in India too, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very difficult to make. You need somebody who's trained on how to make them. The ingredients can be very expensive for macarons as well. So being a visual thinker and making that into speech, so seeing it first and then talking about it, is very effective for getting some good ideas for answers. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm not just telling you this, obviously. I'm telling all of our viewers about this. So I'm just using your response because you were halfway there. Like you came up with, oh yeah, the birthday cake. Birthday cakes are expensive, right? So you got it at the end. I think you saw it at the end, but you want to see it before you start answering. Okay. So an answer that you could give, like a band 9 level answer, is I think that some sweets or desserts like birthday or wedding cakes can be very expensive because they require high quality ingredients and much time and effort from a trained pastry chef. Like the birthday cake, like the 3-layered chocolate birthday cake. I had 2 months ago at my friend's house. And then give numbers. Numbers are always very useful to bump up your score, which cost more than 2,000 rupees. Okay, or you said 10,000, I think, right? More than, let's make it 12,000. Sounds unique. Okay, so that would be like your band 9 answer, but it needs you to visually think about that chocolate cake at your friend's birthday. I'm going to say this, just repeat after me. Repetition is for everybody watching, okay? So everybody who's watching, repeat. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're very patient. Thank you. I think that some desserts like birthday or wedding cakes can be very expensive because they require high quality ingredients and much time and effort from trained pastry chef. Like the 3-layered chocolate birthday cake I had 2 months ago at my friend's house, it cost more than 12,000 rupees.
I think that some desserts like birthday or wedding cakes can be very expensive because they require high quality ingredients and much time and effort for a trained pastry chef, like the 3-layered birthday cake that I had 2 months ago at my friend's house, which cost more than 12,000 rupees.
Okay. All right. So that's how you do it. Does that make sense? Like it's a lot of clarity, very direct answer, makes a lot of sense, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So otherwise, your English is quite solid. So practice that kind of visual thinking for your responses, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Prerna. I hope that you volunteer again. Just out of curiosity,
Yes.
what's your master's? What are you majoring in?
I am planning for business management.
Awesome. And you never know, you might manage a whole bunch of pastry shops, right? Selling
Yes,
birthday
sir.
cakes. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. Bye, Prerna.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
All right, everybody give Prerna a thumbs up. That was her first time volunteering. Alexander says a slice of cake to Prerna. Right on, Alexander. Clever, clever. All right, I think that earns Alexander a shot at these questions. Okay, so Alexander, are you ready? Let's see if Alexander is here with us. I see you there, Ishmael, and I see you there, Mohammed, as well. Lazmi, Sunny, hang in there. Bakrat. All right. Bakrat says, you rock, Prerna. Alexander says, I'm always ready. All right, Alexander.
Hello.
Hi, Alexander.
Hi.
Have you had any delicious sweets lately?
Oh yes.
Okay. I think if you speak a little bit louder, I will hear you a little bit better, Alexander.
Yes. Is it fine now?
Now it's great. Fantastic.
Okay.
All right. What delicious sweets did you have recently, Alexander, that you can recall?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm quite addicted to desserts. As I just mentioned, even Filipino cakes.
I was surprised that you're like, oh, I've had Filipino cupcakes.
No,
Okay.
as you know, Filipinos quite Filipino ladies working in a lot of countries as nurses or
Yeah, in many
house
professions. Yeah.
keepers. Yeah. Very reliable and very fair. So best regards to all Filipinos.
All right. A little bit of kudos there by Alexander. All right. Yeah, and it's a great way to share our food, right? Somebody said globalization of food is one of the big changes. Okay, great. Then let's get into it. Okay. Here we go. So let's talk about making food. How have food preparation practices improved over the decades?
I think the food industry is developing very fast, as well as all our businesses throughout the world. Especially, we are using some new technologies, new materials, and new recommendations from medicine. So it's quite fashionable nowadays to use new ingredients like sugar replacements or free gluten ingredients. Fortunately or unfortunately, the market is full of new proposals for such addictive people like myself. And I hope that food industry will develop even more to make consumption of sweets more healthy for us.
Do you feel that any of these changes have been for the worse?
I think it's for the worse because especially in my country where I'm living now, we have wider choice. So in my childhood we didn't have so wide choice of sweets, but I remember very well when first chocolate bars appeared, were introduced on the market. It was a big hook, let's say, and for snacks which were not existed before. So I hope it will be for better still. But current assortment of sweets cannot leave us independent from this consumption, especially people who has some addiction or has some weaknesses.
Some people say that the tradition of quality home-cooked meals is slowly disappearing. Why is this?
I cannot share this opinion, especially after pandemic of COVID. Many people, including myself, have returned or have started to cook at home. So still we're witnessing lack or decrease of consumption in restaurants. So I think plus development of internet technologies, information sharing of recipes, creating good possibilities to cook at home.
Okay, good. We'll stop there, and I'll give you some feedback. I can tell, first of all, Alexander, that you listened to my previous advice of staying more focused and keeping the answer more concise, not repeating yourself. So the same ideas. And it's improving. You're getting better and better. It's not perfect yet. You still had a little bit of repetition and yet a little bit of going off topic. I'll show you exactly where that happened. But overall, you're getting there. And I think once you completely eliminate that repetition or that kind of off-topic response, you're going to do even better. So I think that your mark, depending on your examiner, would be 6.5, 7, maybe even a 7.5 by some examiners. It's a bit broad range for you because it depends how much the examiner is penalizing you for going off topic or making some slight mistakes in your word use, and how much they're giving you, for example, for your vocabulary or your specific kind of concept that you're adding in, because you have some very good specific ideas and you have some great vocabulary that you're adding. However, some of that vocabulary is a little bit off. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I asked you, how have food preparation practices improved over the decade? What's the grammar of this question, Alexander?
It's a perfect
Tense, yeah.
present tense.
Yeah. Present perfect tense. Present perfect.
Present tense.
Yeah, it's how have food preparation. Yeah. And so when you're giving the answer, you immediately want to think, okay, I have to use that tense. I need to show the examiner that I have the same tense. English speakers naturally reflect the present tense in their speech. So when we hear it, we, in most cases, will naturally reflect it. So how have food preparation practices improved? Oh, they have improved a lot. Many native speakers will contract. They've improved a lot. So you want to, in the IELTS, you want to say it, not contract it. So you really make it clear for the examiner. So I think the food industry has developed very quickly. So instead of the is developing, has developed. It also it also includes the still developing element. So has developed very fast, or very fastly. As well as our other businesses. That's the part we don't need, right? It's like, okay.
Sure.
It's like,
Exactly.
we don't need that. And then you said, like, new technologies, and then here where I have the ... you kind of, again, went off a little bit into a more distant concept.
Different subject. Yes.
Instead of instead of doing that, so instead of going broad, think about going specific. So instead of going into other types of development, go more into the new technologies that we have developed for preparing food, because there's a lot of good information there. What kind of new technologies have we created to prepare food?
Replacement of dangerous ingredients. It's one of most important technology, I guess.
Okay, so new technologies dealing with better production of ingredients, better distribution,
better storage.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now, again, those aren't actually the first ones that I think of, and this goes back to my previous suggestion of visual communication, right? So when you're talking about preparing food, visually, what would be a good image to picture in your head, or where, I should say? What should you see?
I see factory line.
That wouldn't be so. That wouldn't be the first one that I see. Factory. I would just see my kitchen.
Or restaurant, small restaurant, or
small bakery, restaurant, or a bakery, or just seriously, Alexander, my kitchen. Okay, let me ask you this: in your kitchen, do you have more kitchen appliances now to prepare food than you did 20 or 30 years ago, or less?
Yes, I forgot on this important point. Yeah, we have much wider choice of appliances. Yeah. Food appliances, electronics equipment. Yeah.
What kind of appliances do you have now in the kitchen that you probably didn't have like 20 or 30 years ago? Like what kind of appliance?
I have a very magnificent electronic device called multi-cooker. A multi-cooker.
The multi-cooker, the bread maker, right? So many people now, it's a good one, right? You throw in the ingredients, hit the button, next thing you know, it's shaking on your counter, and poof, there's magically a loaf of bread that appears, right?
Exactly.
So when you said new technologies, I was like, okay, that's great. I hope Alexander's seeing his kitchen right now, because then you would say like many new appliances to create food quickly, such as my multi-cooker and my bread maker.
Bread baker. Yeah.
Bread maker, bread baker, both are okay in this case. Okay. I think bread maker is kind of maybe the more popular in Canada, but that doesn't matter. So you would still be in a band 9.
Sure.
So that's what you want to do, is go into that detail instead of the breadth, right? And then just correcting certain terms like free gluten is quite the opposite of gluten-free. Okay, so instead of free gluten, you want to say gluten-free.
Okay.
Okay, so free always comes after when it's without. So it's without gluten, it's gluten-free. Free is always at the end, okay?
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So like I say, just keep eliminating those unnecessary parts. Anytime you get this kind of correction, like with gluten-free, then you know, okay, that's the right term. Because I was like, okay, well, how should I do this? I should give him a vocabulary score or mark for using advanced collocations like gluten-free, but I can't really give it to him because it's not the accurate way to collocate those two words, right? So that's always the trick, but you should never give up trying with those new words, because that's what we're here to do, is to learn the right way. So Alexander, don't overdo the sweets, okay? Stay healthy.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much. I hope so.
All right, and thank you so much for volunteering. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Bye, Alexander.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so of course, coffee maker for sure, Ridham. And boy, do we ever have like new coffee makers, like the Keurig ones, right? With the little capsules. I don't know if they taste better, but they're sure convenient. Throw the little capsule in, hit the button, boom, within a minute you have a hot coffee, right? So quite amazing. And Alfred says blender, of course, chopper, the microwave, right? Yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on for kitchen appliances to make preparing food easier. All right, Kennel, let's give Kennel a chance here. Kennel, are you ready? And students, by the way, these tips are for everyone, okay? So anytime I'm giving feedback, mistakes are quite common among IELTS test takers. So I know it's a lot to pay attention to, but use my feedback to identify which mistakes you are making. I'm sure Alexander is not the only one who tends to go off topic or repeat the same idea. So if you make that same mistake, write it down. Go, oh yeah, that's one of my top mistakes, repetition of words. And then work to fix it to get those high scores, okay? All right. Daisy says, tastes like Starbucks. All right. Okay, Kennel, here we go.
Hello.
Hi, Kennel.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
I am listening to everybody talk about sweets. I'm doing great. Kennel, can you turn off YouTube audio?
Oh, I turned off. It is actually my phone's microphone. Let me connect my Bluetooth first.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Sure.
I have an idea that it will work as an echo. So.
Okay, well, let's test it out. Yeah, there's a lot of echo. So, Kennel, it's going to be difficult to ask questions this way, so figure out the Bluetooth or get a headset and then come back to me later, okay?
No, I disconnect.
Okay. All right, so, Kennel, is it fixed now, do you think?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, there you go. Now there's no echo. Fantastic. Okay, we'll get right into it then, Kennel. Yeah, so for everybody who's volunteering, test your system. Okay, test your system. All right, Kennel, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, let's talk about making food. Some people say that the tradition of quality home-cooked meals is slowly disappearing. Why is this?
Well, I'm definitely agreeing with this statement. Because now there is lots of ready-to-cook brands are emerging in the market. where people just have to put food in the oven and doesn't have to do any work for like gathering ingredients or readying cook anything. Just I myself order pasta online every week and just put it into my microwave oven and had a taste of delicious pasta without doing anything in just 2 minutes.
What can be done to encourage people to bake and cook more?
Well, I think this problem has emerged because people are not aware about the danger of this ready-to-eat food. And the first of all, we need to uh, make people aware about the dangers and what kind of ingredients they are using. Because I myself, I am a manufacturing of this kind of products, and I know what kind of ingredients. There are very some harmful ingredients we need to use to increase the shelf life of the product. So I think the only way to do this is to make people aware, and I think the government also has to do something. They have to levy higher taxes on this kind of dangerous product, so that people's attention goes toward the healthy ones.
How would it impact society if people cooked more at home?
Well, we will see immediate impact on people's health first of all, and more and more people will cook at home. So it will also cost them slightly less than a ready-made food because whenever I go eat into the restaurant, it costs me about 1,000 rupees. But the same food I prepare at home, it costs me 500 rupees. So it will benefit both health-wise and financial.
That is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking part of the exam, and you will have your mark in 2 days online after you finish the other sections, and your official certificate in about 10 days in the mail. Kendall, that was awesome. So that would be about a band 7.5 going to an 8. Okay, I might even give you an 8, depending on how we do on all the other parts of the test, for a couple of reasons. Your grammar is quite accurate. There's very few subtle mistakes that happen. You're fluent. You have a very nice broad vocabulary. I'll show you what kind of words you used that lead to the higher level vocabulary. So your vocabulary is clearly a band 8. You said emerged because they don't know the danger, the harmful ingredients. You used the word shelf life. Shelf life would be considered more advanced vocabulary. Shelf life, I think it's with a hyphen, maybe like that. Shelf life means the amount of time that you can store the food without it going bad. Okay, so the amount of time you can store food product. Okay, so that would be shelf life. So you said harmful ingredients. Now, if I want to give you the band 9 vocabulary, I would expect a different word instead of ingredients. Ingredients is okay, and as long as you use a lot of good words, I might still give you a band 9. But if I'm really picky, I would choose a different word here instead of ingredients. Do you know what that word is, Kennel? Harmful.
Harmful effects.
No, it's not. It's still to do with the ingredients, but it's a specific type of ingredient group. It starts with a P. They're called preservatives. Okay.
Yes.
That's the specific term, right?
Yes.
So there are some very harmful preservatives, or even chemicals is better than ingredients. Ingredients is okay. It's not bad. Chemicals is better. Preservatives is best. Okay, that's if I were to scale them. So that's just, being really picky at the band 9 level. Okay, but shelf life certainly is at that level. Okay, so that was good. You got a smile out of me when he said I work for one of these companies. I'm like, oh, but just don't say the name of the company. They're not gonna like you if they watch that.
It's like we manufacture by ourselves this kind of product. So I am aware about this.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, right? So you definitely got a smile out of me for that. All right. And then the next question, so how would it impact society if people cooked more at home? Lovely answer. You said the beginning was a little bit awkward. You said maybe it will impact well on people's health. I would have said, well, we will see, but I think it will have a very positive impact on people's health. So it will impact well is, it's okay, but it will impact very positively is a more natural way to say it. And you said it will also cost people less. I loved how you added the numbers. You said it costs around 1,000 rupees at a restaurant. And instead, when I make the same meal at home, it cost me 500 rupees. So that was a very good quantification of how we save money when we cook at home. So it'd be healthier and cheaper, right? So it was really good. All right. Great. Very good answers. Again, just a little bit more attention to grammar. Start strong with each of those answers, and you'll do just fine. Just keep practicing. Kennel, when are you planning to take your IELTS exam?
Probably after 10th December.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're ready, so you'll get a nice score. All right. And your first answer, I agree with this statement. There are lots of ready-to-cook products. That was another nice piece of vocabulary, ready-to-cook, or we also call them instant meals. Okay.
Instant.
Yeah.
I was just speaking naturally this time, without any tension or any, just speaking naturally, whatever comes from within.
It was good.
Right.
When you speak naturally, be careful not to... I think Alexander did that too. Both of you have good English, so you can approach in a natural way. Just make sure that you stay concise, so don't overspeak, okay? But that was quite good, for sure. Okay, Kennel, thank you so much for volunteering. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Adrian.
Bye for now. All right. Gian, Chand, you say your request is to update the videos, especially regarding speaking. I'm not sure where you're thinking of, like on the website or on the YouTube channel. Let me know. Send me an email. Okay. All right, students. So this chat center on the website, it's free for everybody. You don't need to pay for the course. Everybody can chat with each other. So Alfred, you can chat with Ishmael. Lazmi, you can chat with Riyadh. All of you have great English. I've heard your English before. Don't just wait to chat with me. Chat with each other, okay? That's what this is here for. So I hope that even though we're coming to the end of the class, you'll stay in here and you'll ping each other. You send each other a message and say, hey, do you want to practice some of these questions about food or some of these speaking scripts? Maybe that's what you're talking about, Gian, is the speaking. Well, it's not video, so I'm not sure. Anyway, you tell me, you send me an email, okay? Students, don't forget that for the websites, especially if you are joining these classes often, it's a great time to buy the premium version of the website so you have all the materials to follow along with the classes. Go to aehelp.com for academic IELTS, or go to gieltshelp.com, so aehelp.com for academic, gieltshelp.com for general, and use the code CBMN. You get a 15-minute speaking interview with that as well, as a 30% discount, so great time to join up. This is a very limited offer, of course, because otherwise I'd be doing speaking interviews all day. So take advantage of it. These codes only last for a few days. And I hope to see you tomorrow in our Discord class. Students, here's the link for the Discord class tomorrow. Okay. Thank you to all of the wonderful volunteers in this class and in the last class. Keep up the practice. Capture your mistakes and work on them. And I hope to see you in future classes. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. Bye for now, everyone.